Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Wally's Welding World. I'm the Weld Professor, and this is Travis Field. And he's actually with me out here right now in Greece, and we're just kind of get his story and kind of his background about welding for you guys, because there's a lot of people out there that are interested in knowing how us rig welders live our life, and you're just curious and you got a lot of questions. So I'm pretty much going to give Travis an interview. Go ahead and say hi, Travis, to the world.
Hi, guys.
And we'll get into this interview. So I guess one of the biggest questions that people have is they wonder what kind of lifestyle do you think the rig weld lifestyle is? Do you think it's a glamorous lifestyle, or is it kind of like a hard, rugged, blue collar lifestyle? Like, what's your opinion of the lifestyle that a rig welder is able to accommodate for themselves?
Do you want me to talk?
Yeah, I would definitely.
I think in Alberta, Canada, I think it's kind of, it depends if guys are working or if guys are not working. It depends on the economy, depends what kind of line of work if you're doing. If you're doing like maintenance, TIG welding, shutdowns, union, non-union, pipeline, fab facility, etc. It kind of depends on how long the longevity of the work is, if you're a good welder or not. Especially the buddy system is very important. It depends on a lot of factors.
So that's good that you say that, the buddy system. A lot of people don't know what a buddy system is. You want to kind of elaborate on what you think the buddy system is?
Here's a good example. Say, for example, Wally and I, we follow each other on Instagram. I could say, for example, say I'm envious of Wally and you know, I'm say mean things. Well, we're not friends then. Say if I admire what he does, I can reach out to Wally and say, hey, I really admire what you do. You know, I want to get the same opportunities that you have. I want to be involved with what you're doing. And you know, he can say, hey, you know, come be a part of this opportunity that I have. You know, and that's actually how I'm in Athens, Greece here, and also in Ireland, is because I was looking for a next place to travel. I've been traveling around a little bit, and you know, I cannot remember if I was talking to you about Austria, because I was posting pictures, and Wally said, you know, take a lot of pictures because I want to find the next place to travel to, and which is a good thing. And or else there's either that, or else I put on Instagram stories, hey, looking for the next place to travel to, and Wally said, hey, I'm going here and here, you should come with me. And, you know, it just happened to work out that, you know, I came with him. His wife over there had arranged all travel and everything, and helped me book the flight because she is a travel agent, and it just worked out. So that would be an example of the buddy system.
So let me ask you some personal questions, if you don't mind. Not really too personal, but based on just welding. How long have you been welding for?
2006, October.
So he's been welding for quite a while, guys. He's been at this for quite a while. It's nothing he acquired overnight or over a week. It's taken him years to establish to become the welder that he is. Now, do you want to kind of give them an example of kind of the different welding techniques that you've picked up during your life? And because I'll be honest, Travis does more kind of welding than I do. I believe he welds aluminum pipe. He does a lot of, or not a lot, but he welds titanium. He does uphill, downhill on carbon pipe, and he's very skilled stainless welder. So is there any other kind of welding that you also do?
Actually, the way it works in, say, in Alberta, Canada, I'm from Alberta, Canada, you have to do an apprenticeship program. The way that works is it's pretty much mandatory, whether you're union, non-union, etc. You just have to take an apprenticeship program. For myself, I would have started as I got a little bit of help. I would have started as a welder helper, so I got signed up hours. I got my blue book, which you have to get for your apprenticeship. You go into a first year technical training, post-secondary education. I would have done my post-secondary education first year, and then would have got work experience. Then X amount of hours, maybe 1,400, 1,800. It's been a couple years, I can't remember. But then I would have taken. I did my second and third year back to back, and then I got more work experience again, and then from 2006, October 2006 to about 2008, I got my German ticket, and I believe it's November, April, August, somewhere in those months. Once you get your German ticket, then you can get your B pressure ticket, your initial B, which allows you to weld pressure piping, and that is basically a 6-inch Schedule 80. It goes down to about 2 5/8 or 2 1/4. It's been a couple years since I had to get that, and that's kind of how you get into it. And then once you get your initial B pressure ticket, your white card, then you can start taking different. You can start either taking different welding courses if you want to, or else you can just go and do like a weld test to get certifications. For myself, there's a welder training testing facility in Edmonton, Alberta. The place is called GRB College of Welding. The owner, he's been welding since 1967. His name is Jerry. He's about 72 years old, and he knows everything. And I've taken the courses from him. November 2008, started with my initial depression course, learning how to do that. I believe in May, I think April, I was doing some testing, renewing tickets and everything. A couple jobs, doing scale and 60, etc. But May, I did my carbon and stainless TIG course that Jerry offered. I believe sometime in 2009 I did my Inconel. Sometime, I believe in December around there, I did my downhand, learned how to weld pipelines, downhand course, and I started taking welding courses. 2009, 2010, around 2011, I did the bulk of my training for different welding courses. I would cover carbon, stainless, duplex, superflex, nickel alloys, aluminum, titanium. I believe I got in 2013, in February 2013, and aluminum I believe is 2013ish. But it would cover SET, RMD, pressure, just different certifications. And then those expire every 2 years. You get a yellow card, those expire every 2 years. And quite often, usually just to see and hang out with Jerry, and just to make sure I'm good enough to do the different welding and fast enough, etc. But then I'd go and renew the tickets. They also expire, but I'd go and renew my tickets and make sure I can still do them.
So Jerry is probably one of the people that inspired you to get into welding.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So Jerry was his inspiration. So do you think it's important to have somebody to look up to be an inspiration, or do you think maybe just having welding as a main set to be inspired by?
Actually, with that, it's the thing with Jerry. He is very, very intelligent. Quite often you see welders are like if a school or campus is advertising welding, they always advertise it as a physical grunt, brute. You know, if you have good hand-eye coordination, if you're kind of a Neanderthal, you can be a welder. And I've always, originally when I was doing my welding, I was very ashamed that I was a welder, and I wanted to go into university. I wanted to be highly educated, and I was very embarrassed to be a welder. And it's always because, well, there's people look down on you because you're not very intelligent. But when I started going to GRB College of Welding and being around Jerry, Jerry is an engineer. He was extremely highly taught. He carries himself really well, very gracefully. He's very brilliant, extremely knowledgeable. He's just a very brilliant person and has a very good atmosphere there. And I think being around him made me kind of realize that there's more to welding. There's a very deep theory that you can be very intelligent and be a welder. There's a lot of psychology in welding. Say you could have different metals. They all have. It's almost like you're a psychiatrist or a psychologist, and the different metals are your patients. You have to apply with it that way. And then there's such things as body positioning and theory, and you need to know all these things. So it actually, welding ended up being more than just brute, grunt, dragging my knuckles. It was more intelligent, sophisticated.
I think people do down talk the blue collar industry, and realistically, it takes a lot of intelligence to actually perform some of the activities we do. They have a saying out there that an engineer can say how to do the job, but the welder's doing the job. And in times, the engineer can't be a welder, but the welder can be an engineer.
Yeah.
Do you believe that? Yeah, there's a lot of truth behind that. Travis, I really enjoy that story, man. That's fascinating. I think what a lot of people also are asking out there is, what steps do you think they absolutely need to take into becoming either a welder or a rig welder? What do you think are some of the basic steps that you would recommend some of these audience, these kids paying attention? What kind of steps and advice would you give them to start off?
Have the right person to show you. You have to pay attention to proper body position, proper welding technique. Learn different styles of techniques and apply what is the most efficient. You got to ask questions. Asking questions is most important. You could also, once you get good training and learn from different people, you can take that. You can start buying your own equipment, buying your own pipe cutting systems, etc. You can start practicing on your own. You can also have others come over and help you, or you can go to others and learn how to do different kinds kinds of welding because you want to expand, you want to get different skill sets. But the other thing is that you always want to be in a position where you are the guy that the other welders come to learn from, because quite often I find that if it's almost like you take on the role as a teacher and you're training others, and people look to you as you're the guy that is supposed to know how to do everything. So that itself kind of builds you up, because if people don't look at you as, well, this guy doesn't know anything, then you really won't advance yourself. So
that's some good solid advice. I think I could take some of that advice. It's awesome. Was there any kind of a doubt in your mind that you would ever become in the position you are now? Did you ever have doubt in yourself, do you think? Or were you always just confident enough that you would be in this position someday, being the welder you are, pretty much? Did you ever see yourself becoming a rig welder and doing the work you do now? Or was it just something maybe that you thought was impossible to reach?
Well, I know with that, originally when I was working by hand, 2009 when I got my initial pressure ticket, 2009, 2010, I believe 2011 into 2012, I was working by hand, and I always told myself I'm not good enough to be a rig welder, not good enough to be a rig welder. And then,
so you held yourself to a high standard.
Yeah, and the reason being is because I worked with a welder named Andy Nipnick, and he must have been welding for 40 plus years, since like 1976 or 78. And this guy, he was very, very professional. He was very mature, and but mostly very professional, and this is how things are going to be done. He was very fast. He was the number one guy, and I always saw that is that if I'm going to be a rig welder, I need to be like him. And so I always told myself, well, I'm not good enough, I'm not fast enough, I don't know enough, I don't have the same work ethic as him, so I'll never be as a rig welder. And then I believe sometime in 2012, I was in a pipe fabrication shop, and I was learning different things, and I was just kind of limited to 60-10 roots, 10-18, and just kind of wanted to weld different metals, stainless, nickel alloys, etc. I had certain welding tickets that I was practicing these things at home on myself, and I was practicing these different things, but I just got discouraged.
Oh, that's all right. So pretty much, do you think that you'll continue to be a rig welder for most of your life? Do you see yourself being a rig welder for the rest of your life, or do you think that you'll also get to another high state to where you no longer want to be a rig welder? Like, are you trying to save up to no longer be a welder and then maybe go into like a teaching type, or do you just want to continue to help and continue to be a rig welder? Like, where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
That I don't know.
I just kind of live it one day at a time.
Yeah. Because right now, I think right now I kind of, in the last couple of years, I have helped other rig welders and other welders kind of get certain directions, learning certain techniques, acquiring certain skill sets, knowledge on welding certain metals. So I have been able to do that, and different welders have recommended me to either become a welding teacher, or one welder suggests I go and be an engineer, take the education, schooling for that. But I think my life is kind of going towards that, like an education role, because there's certain things are falling in place for that to happen. I know right now I just rig welding job, and now my focus is just kind of traveling. So
now, is your focus on, a lot of people are out here chasing the money, and they think it's all about the money. Do you believe that it's about the money?
In rig welding, it's you do make a fair amount of money, but you do have to have the skill set, knowledge to be able to hold a job. A lot of welders, I'll put it this way, a lot of welders, they'll come to me, and they want to learn how to do something the fast way. And I say, no, you should take a welding course, go to Junior College of Welding and take a welding course, and I'll say maybe the welding course for 40 hours is $1,400, $1,800, whatever, and they'll say, no, that's too much money. But I'll say, well, no, that is an investment that you can that's like, say, a day's rate, days and a half, 1 day worth of work, which you make back, but you learn how to do that, and you have that knowledge for the rest of your career. A lot of guys, they're more focused based on, well, I want to make the money. I don't want to do that because that's a waste of money. They don't see it as an investment. But I see a lot of guys, they are trying to get out of the trade because certain things are happening. They may not be able to, whether it's hold a job or certain life things, they're seeing they getting out of the trade. So it's nice to make the money, but I've also found that welding exotic metals is almost like a starving artist welding certain exotic metals. So there's kind of different ways. Yeah, like you probably make more money welding carbon alloy, well, carbon.
So you would, if you were to suggest somebody to start welding, would you suggest them? Where would you suggest them start learning at? At a MIG, on a TIG, or would you prefer them to learn stick welding, or would you say learn it all? Like, what would you do? Have you ever MIG welded in your life?
In the past, when I was MIG welding when I was an apprentice. I was welding on buckets in a structural shop.
Started on buckets, guys.
Yeah.
Look at him now. I like the fact that Travis says that you need to make the investment. A lot of people are overlooking the investment part.
Yeah.
The investment is for your future, guys, and that's what's going to get you here to this position. We're out here traveling, you know, because we've invested in our life, and we see the prosper in investing in it. So don't be afraid to invest in your future, I guess is what he's trying to say. And if you're welding, you know, just start anywhere, even if you're starting on buckets, guys. If you have to start welding buckets to get your foot in the door, get your foot in the door and learn everything you can, you know, like he's saying, take the steps. You know, that's something important, is you guys need to take the steps and invest in yourself, because if you're not taking the steps and investing in yourself properly, the money might not be there for you in the future. So I don't know, I guess, Travis, I mostly just wanted to kind of get a gist of your story, man. I know that we're going to be hanging out more and traveling the world more, and we'll probably have more for you guys as well. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this interview for now, though, because Travis does have an early flight in the morning, and
3 a.m.-ish.
You know, but it's the free lifestyle, and I think anybody can have it as long as they're willing to invest in themselves and make the steps that they need to make. So Travis, I appreciate it, man, and thank you for coming out here, man. And
Thank you for inviting me here.
yes, man, of course. And you guys stay tuned for more videos from Travis. You know, he's on Instagram. You can find him, and I suggest you support him. I support him, and he's a great person. I've got the time to know him, and he's a genuine person. He's not out to attack people and take advantage of people, and that's one of the things I really admire about Travis. So you guys have fun, all right? Take care. Peace. Cool, man. Thought that was